There we go. All righty. Well, it looks like we're about at time. And when I check this handy dandy script, Deb, I think you're kicking us off today, right?
I certainly, I think you already have, Shelby, but I'll take it the next leg anyway. So thank y'all for being here. We're delighted to have you this morning. I hope everybody survived whatever storms might have been pushing through your area last night. As Shelby said, if you haven't had a chance to check in on 2 and 3, let's do that. And I think this morning, we've had a few new faces. I'd like to start off by just having a quick go down the list and introduce yourself, where you're from, the topics you'd like to have education on. We have listed there because we're going to be hearing from Becky and Kelsey and company shortly about what their image is for the year and some of the program focus that you would like to have. And this is going to help inform that. So thank you. If there's anything related to this work that you're all involved in that you would like to have more answers to, more education on, if there's a speaker you know of, anything there, it would be very helpful if you could drop it into that table. But as we go down, we can read those later. Let's try a welcome question this morning, like, I'm Deb Burnite. My organization is Great Plains Top. I'm in Sioux City, Iowa. And the check-in question, if we were to look on the top of your refrigerator right now, what would we find on the top of your refrigerator? Mine would be dust. And I'm complete, and we'll pass it to Kaylee. Kaylee, if you can unmute, tell us who you are, where you are, and what's on top of your fridge.
Kaylee Cassidy, Loop Basin Public Health Department in Burwell, Nebraska. I'm sure there is probably a bunch of koozies up there. Stuff.
Koozies?
Yeah.
And you can go ahead, just pass it to the next person on the list.
Haley.
Haley Jelinek, Two Rivers Public Health, Kearney, Nebraska, and dust and saltine crackers.
And Haley, who are you passing to?
Becky.
I'm Becky. I'm with DHHS in Omaha, Nebraska, and I would say probably dust and random canvases / art supplies. Judge me all you want. It's not mine. Kelsey, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kelsey with DHHS in Lincoln. I just got some bread and cereal up on the top of my fridge. And I'll pass it to Danielle if she's able to talk.
I think Brooklyn is next on the list, Kelsey. We're going down on the slide deck, just as an automatic pass to the next person.
That's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Brooklyn Worms. I'm with Essential District Health Department. I'm in Columbus. And do you want my honest opinion on what's on my alcohol? There's a lot of alcohol. Not saying I'm an alcoholic, but on the weekends we do like a good party.
I love your honesty, Brooklyn. And who are you passing to?
Christina.
Hola. Good morning. I was trying to think of how to say good morning in Spanish, but
Buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Thank you, Brooklyn. So I'm with the Lincoln Lancaster County Health Department in Lincoln, Nebraska, and on top of my refrigerator is 1 clean fly swatter and 3 boxes of Nespresso pods for my Nespresso machine.
Thank you. And who are you passing to?
Okay, so I don't even see myself on the list, but when I look at the, oh, maybe I'm at the very top of the list. So after Brooklyn was Diana.
Oh, on the slide deck, Christina, in the slide deck, I see on slide 2.
Oh, that. Oh, I was
Yeah.
looking at the participant list on the, dang it.
Oh,
Okay,
on Zoom.
confused. Okay, so Brooklyn, Christina, Molly.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I'm Molly Herman. I'm with Northeast Nebraska Public Health Department. And among many other items on top of my fridge, that is where I store like the extra dog treats. And I'll pass to Karina.
Good morning, ladies. I'm Karina Hurtado. I work for Central District Health Department in Grand Island, Nebraska. One thing you would find on top of my fridge would be probably some cards from the kids I leave or papers and dust. Next one, Deanna.
Hi everyone, my name is Diana Ortiz. I'm with Douglas County Health Department, and on top of my fridge, I think I just have cereal, have a couple boxes. After me is Maureen.
Hi, I'm Maureen, and I'm from Wayne, Nebraska with Northeast Nebraska Public Health Department. On top of my fridge, we have dog treats, probably some stuff of my brother's because he's my roommate, and there's probably some grease up there because we don't have a stove lid. I'm going to pass it to Michelle.
We are now on slide 3 for the call-in order here.
Okay.
I'm Michelle, and I'm from Crete, Nebraska with Public Health Solutions. You would find probably some dust, definitely, my cookbooks and a change jar. And I will pass it to Shelby Pierce.
Hi, everyone. Shelby Pierce, Pierce Porter Facilitation. What you would find on top of my fridge is dust, dog food, and a food processor. There you go. And I will pass to, let me get to the right spot, Jamie Rodriguez.
Hey everyone, I'm Jamie Rodriguez with the Central District Health Department. On top of mine is dust too, and probably just odds and ends stuff. I don't even know.
And then Jamie, who comes after you? Jackie?
Yeah, sorry.
Hi, I'm Jackie with Dakota County Health Department. And probably what's on top of my fridge, I like to hide all the stuff my girls can't get into. So their nail polishes up there and temporary tattoos.
And I believe Jackie is passing to Brooke.
Yes, I'm Brooke Wolf from South Heartland District Health Department in Hastings. And what's on top of my fridge is my daughter's daily medicine, because we remember it there. And then also an Instapot that I do not know how to use. So that's what's on my fridge. And I don't know who I'm passing it to, Deb. I can't see. Heidi,
That's fine. You're passing it to Heidi.
Okay.
Heidi Wheeler, Southwest Public Health, and I actually have my Instapot on top of my fridge as well. I know how to use mine though.
No judgment.
Sorry.
It's a fun adventure if you haven't used it yet.
Can't get to work. Sorry.
Okay, very good. We also have had a notice from Danielle Garcia, who is not in the slide deck right now. She's about 2 minutes from her computer. So Danielle, we'll be glad to see you when you are able to be here. We've also had Colette join us. And Colette, we're just doing little introductions now by who are you, where are you from, and what's on top of your fridge right now?
Yikes. This is Colette Evans with Central District Health Department. On top of my fridge is, much to my disapproval, I have a set of antique canister sets that I like to display with a really old set of Pyrex bowls. And the men in my family insist on keeping their bread, their potato chips, and their ramen noodles on top of it.
Okay, well, I feel like I've gotten to know you all a little better with that introduction piece. And I believe we have yet to hear from Tabby. Is that right? Tabby, do you have your ears on?
I do have my ears on. Sorry, I'm traveling today, so I won't leave my video on. I don't want to make anybody sick, but I'm Tabby with Panhandle Public Health District. And on top of my fridge is everything that's really cool to Eli. So like swords and big Nerf guns and things that have been taken away.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. That little technique of going down the list on a slide deck is helpful when you want to get all voices in the room. So it's just behind the scenes. We use that technique a lot online just to make sure that we have a little bit of organization and people know who is coming next. So it's a little bit easier to get voices in the room. Welcome, y'all. On slide 4 are our normal meeting agreements and our conversation guidelines. You all know those by heart by now. If you need to you can go back to those. Today on slide 5, we have our rational aims and experiential aim updated from last time. We are continuing the work. We've been really happy to see what is unfolding for your year. A lot has been happening. And we're going to finish up that design work today and have you weigh in on some proposals that are coming to you. So what has happened in the interim since last we met? If you move to slide 6, there's been a very active design team that has been working together to get ready for this meeting today, and you will find their names and pictures on slide 6. So can we give them some American Sign Language applause here for the work that they've been doing on your behalf, carrying the water, getting ready to move this great initiative forward. So thank you to Danielle, Davidson, Haley, Becky, Heidi, Linda, Jamie, and Kelsey. We really appreciated your help in getting ready for today. We are now ready for our connection time. We're going to be moving into small groups for 10 minutes. And the topic you'll find on slide 7 that we are asking you to have a little conversation about. The question is, how are you spending down your budget? We have a little bit of instruction here. You're going to be moving into some breakout rooms in groups of 3 or 4 people. We'd like you just to meet with those folks. If you don't know who's in your room, please take a minute to introduce yourselves as well. On the next slide, there is space for you to list all the ideas of the way that you are spending your carryover dollars. So talk about what's going on, share information, recommendations with each other, list how you're doing that on slide 8. Choose yourself a spokesperson that can just report out briefly for your group when we come back together. And if you finish early, please feel free to touch that button in your breakout room and you can come on back to the main room and hang out with us for a while. So you'll have 10 minutes for the conversation. Is there any question from anyone? All right, Shelby.
All righty, I'm going to go ahead and open up our breakout rooms. Opening those now. Hi, you know what? I sent
I'm finally
Becky.
at my computer.
You're finally at your computer. You're welcome. I sent Kelsey and Becky into rooms.
In the same room or separate ones?
Separate. I
think that's okay.
Okay. I wasn't thinking about how.
Oh, and here she comes.
Yeah. Hi, Becky. Welcome back. I like evenly spread you all out. And then just at the last minute, I was like, subject matter. I was like, oh, I guess you guys don't have dollars to spend down. Sorry.
Like, I got some spend down money in my personal budget. I mean,
Yeah. Kelsey's marooned into room 4. But
Are there 3 or 4 people in that room?
there are only 3 people in that room. I would have.
I'd leave her there then.
Yeah.
Just let her have the conversation.
Okay. All right. Oh, good job, Danielle. Man.
That was rough. I was like, I was supposed, yeah, anyways, the appointment took longer than I thought, but I was like, let me try to get on this meeting as much as possible. But
you did great.
How's your day, since I didn't get to talk much earlier?
Good day. Actually, I'm going to pause our recording. Somebody help me remember. I'm going to share in the chat our link to our shared workspace. Once you get in there, everybody's just coming back from breakout rooms, and we're on slides 7 and 8. The connection conversation was around ideas for how to spend carryover dollars. All right. I think we've got everybody back. Welcome back, everyone.
Okay, wonderful. So much good stuff has come out. If you can open up to slide 7, if you're not already there, I'd like to just give you a couple of minutes to look over what the ideas are from your colleagues on ways to use your carryover dollars. So just take a minute and scan over what other people have said. As you do, are there any that you would like to hear more about? If you have a question around what got answered here, please feel free to open up your mic, and what would you like to hear more about? Jamie asks, what is rap training? I imagine we're not talking about the music rap. WRAP. Whoever wrote about rap training, could you open up your mic and give us a little more information?
Yep, that's us out in the Panhandle. It's wellness recovery action planning. So it is a tool that can be used for recovery, but can also use for prevention. So really just giving people the tools that they can start to see what those triggers are and how they can respond and make better decisions. When do they need to, who are their go-to people? So they can name a couple people that they can get assistance with. And it really has kind of been interesting to learn about it and how it's seen successful. They've seen success with it in the prison systems. They've seen success with it in like worksite wellness and community, just all really around the whole gamut of ways that it's seen success. So we're excited to bring it out, and it's really been kind of a reasonable process of how it works. So you can train the trainer and then keep it local and keep building on it. So it's kind of exciting.
Hey, Tabby.
Yeah.
I feel like, we talked about this at band, but please remind me, who are you training people? Schools, work sites, who are you training?
Right now we're training staff, and then we'll build out from there. Because once we get the staff trained, then they can be trained the trainers, and then they can train schools, they can train work sites, they can train however we need it in the communities.
Like
I see
your
it
staff.
rolling out in that world. Yeah, right now we're training our staff, just so we'll have trained the trainers so we can maintain it here in the Panhandle and continue to grow it. And then we'll train from there out. So
Is
we
that
don't have
something-
a great implementation plan of who will be long-term trained.
Are you, sorry, I'm totally taking over the conversation.
No,
Sorry,
you're okay.
Tabby. But are you doing it online, and would other local health departments be able to join?
Yes, and I believe yes.
Could you send us information, please?
Yes, Emily was working on setting the date. So as soon as we have that, I'll just share it with this whole group. I think we
Thank
can
you,
have like up
Tabby.
to 12 people, and it's like, I want to say it's like $1,200 to $1,500 a person, if I remember right.
Perfect. Thank you much.
Thank you. And then you have to do a second training to be a train the trainer, but it all builds in, and we're going to do it all. So I'll keep you guys posted.
Fabulous, Tabby. Thank you so much. And thanks for the question, Jamie. What else would you like to hear more about that you are seeing on slide 7?
I'm curious about the fatality review team, what that looks like and who comprises that team and what do they talk about?
Who can give us some information about that?
So I believe that's us, Douglas County. Just a little of an overview. So the OFR team is we have meetings that occur on a regular basis, try to have a multidisciplinary team, so including everyone from law enforcement to hopefully providers, community members, some people from the state are also that are working with the health departments and anything to do with like opioids or use. And basically just coming together, reviewing individual cases. It looks at like the person's life of like where we could have had an intervention or like what gaps we have in our community. It really brings everyone together so that there's more of understanding of what is going well, what's working well, and then what's needed. We are after having our meetings, hopefully we have like recommendations and being able to assign like who can implement that recommendation. We are starting our first one in May, so that's going to be exciting. We haven't had, we were really working on like getting everyone together and getting all the data pieces. And we do have to like work together to specify like if we're only looking at opioids or any overdose to answer your question. But yeah, that's basically like the big picture about it. There's a lot more specific, but if you guys have any questions, I can definitely answer.
Thank you.
So Diana, just to clarify, so your answer was basically yes, we look at them all and we just know what we're looking at when we're looking at them. So you're reviewing all substance use related deaths?
So because like I said, like we haven't had an actual case review just yet. We are working on like seeing what works best, if it's only opioids overdose or if it's just overall, because we really don't have enough data to see like what is going on in our community, like what is the most like what where we need to focus on. So hopefully after doing a couple cases we can narrow that down. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Any other questions for Diana? What else, if anything, on slide 7 would you like to hear a little bit more about?
I'm intrigued by the would like to put Narcan in the DV shelters and domestic violence agencies and nonprofits. We did a little work with our region to do that earlier on in behavioral health facilities, schools, and we've gotten clarification that we had to stop that effort. So I was just curious, due to some regulation stuff, how if there's a new guidance or if it's working some way, and also if Narcan can be purchased with these funds.
I don't know if they can be purchased with the funds from this particular grant, but I would like to see some training, at least with people, or at least a webinar for folks that work. Well, this is more kind of a statewide thing, in domestic violence and run shelters. Because many of the people that enter shelter through a DV or SA agency across the state, they are dual diagnosis, and a lot of shelters aren't prepared for that. They don't have even an LDAC, a licensed alcohol and drug counselor on staff, or they don't have a mental health practitioner on staff. And it's really difficult when they come into shelter and you have the young advocates that aren't really trained even to do like psychological first aid, and they aren't able, if the person doesn't divulge their diagnosis and they come in and someone is not responsive, they call the ambulance, which I think is fine, but I don't know what the liability is for shelters. I'm just not sure about that. It was just a thought and something I think that is a need, but I don't know how to implement it yet. And I've only been here like a month. So I'm hoping in the future that would be something we could possibly do.
Yeah, no, that's super exciting to me. I was just trying to figure out, I was like, ooh, maybe there's something new happening. So no, that's really, really exciting.
I know the Coalition for Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault of Nebraska is working on this issue. I know some folks over there, they are working on trying to do something across statewide.
A workaround that we've been able to do in certain areas is work with the partners. So where staff can go get the Narcan from the pharmacies that are participating in the Nebraska Pharmacy, so they can get it at no cost for the pharmacies and have it, and through the Good Samaritan Act, they can administer it. And so there are some balances, but there's got to be, there has to be a more streamlined way. I'm with you. Like, we've got to figure out a better system.
Yeah, and I talked to the pharmacist we have here, and we do have some DVSA shelters in our service area. And they've said, oh yeah, if the people from the agency would come in, we would certainly get that.
Yep.
We would give that to them actually through a grant they have.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they have to come in and want the training and do the training.
Yep. No, that's, yeah. Maybe there's a way we can do it somehow on site through the pharmacy. I like that. I like the idea of where you're headed. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Makes my brain think.
Oh, cool.
Lively conversation in the chat, so I would encourage you to check that out. Information flowing back and forth there as well. Anything else on slide 7 that you'd like to hear more about? Great stuff, guys. Thanks.
I'm curious about the conversation that was just had. Do you all want to, do we need to capture that in any way as a possible next thing to look into? I'm just looking at there's on the very last slide of the deck, slide 17, there's a parking lot right there. If there's a potential future action, I just want to encourage the group to capture that action there, so you all have it to.
So we'll challenge you to write any recommendations or questions that you have around that on slide 17. And it's also in our recording right now. That whole conversation has been captured. So we can always come back to that as well. Anything else before we move on? We have a couple of other things on the plate today to talk about. Well, all right. Let's go on to slide 8. For those of you who may be new or have missed a meeting or two, we've been talking about how you want to design the rest of your year for your community of practice, and your decisions so far are listed on slide 8. You can read those. We've been over them, and we can go ahead and keep this for future reference. We had charged your admin staff, Becky and Kelsey and company, for putting together a proposal for you on what you might like to see based on what you had already said. So if you can move to slide 9, let's see here. I think Becky is going to present what they've been working on in terms of your focus for the rest of your year. So Becky, you want to take this away?
Yes, absolutely. So this slide 9 is a pretty rough draft of kind of what we're thinking. We're open to insight from everybody, but this just kind of lays out kind of where our minds are based on feedback we've gotten from the team, and areas that people wanted to focus in on. So clearly we're done with March, and April is as we speak. But May, we had put in work plan development. And then we also included the RX Summit takeaway. discussions, just so we can give everybody who's going to the summit next week, I believe, an opportunity to kind of share some of their takeaways and see if there's anything that, you know, I'm sure there will be things that will benefit the team as a whole. And then June, we talked about the opioid response network and kind of honing in on that and what that can do to help the team in different communities. July is going to be more focused on data. So what data we can share, what we can use with the data, how we can kind of work around different systems to be able to use the data to the best of your ability in making decisions within your own communities. August, we thought with the start of the new funding year, we could kind of hone in on the how-tos, how to fill out invoices, specific templates, different processes to get everybody on that same page to start off the new funding year. So August probably won't be as overly exciting as other months, but we thought that that would be a good time to do that. And then September, we pulled in the PDMP discussion, and I put maybe in July because it is data driven. And I don't know, we have to do a little bit more digging on how much time we would need, if it would make sense to move it to July or if it would make sense to keep it separate. So that's kind of up in the air, but we do want to have some sort of discussion specifically around the PDMP. And then October, we thought of partnering with behavioral health regions, maybe seeing if we could bring in some representatives from behavioral health regions and figure out how we can kind of partner, build those relationships and work together to hit the same population of individuals that we're both working with. November, I put wild card just because, you know, I knew we were having this discussion today and I wanted to get your all's insight and see if there's anything specific to add into November that we maybe haven't thought of. And then December is evaluation and planning for 2023. So kind of the year end wrap up and discussions of what we want our next year to look like.
So I would ask the group, what is it? Do you have any questions about this proposal? First of all, just questions of clarity and what the intent is. Hearing none, I'm seeing, okay, Christina, thank you very much. You're moving into the question I was going to ask. What do you like about the proposal? Christina says it looks good. I'd be interested in hearing from any of you. What is it you like about this? Room to grow and change flexibly. Anyone else feel, if so moved, type into the chat what you like about it.
This is Brooke. I like that there's training along with data, along with some planning as a state. So good job, Becky and team, about thinking about all the things that we've talked about and trying to incorporate each of them. That's my thought.
Thank you. Anyone else, what you like about it? Flexibility and training, Maureen says.
We did also have a discussion about how with that opening question, the topics that you guys wrote, we could always add those topics in to different months too, so.
Yep, very, it looks good and very well rounded from Michelle. Okay, let's go open up the case also. What concerns do you have, if any, around the proposal? Okay, taking a look at the key components that you all came up with over on the right-hand side, are we thinking maybe that this is then reflecting and building in those key components? Let's take a hot dog rule just to make sure that we're capturing all the perspective here. If you remember correctly, the hot dog rule around consensus means that number one would mean that I fully support moving forward with this plan as it stands today. Up until a 5 meaning no way, we got to start over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, if you can just list that in the chat, please. If you're a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 meaning yes, 5 meaning no way. Okay. It's looking like we've got some pretty good consensus for this. With the understanding that it is flexible and things can change with the will of the group. So I think Becky, Danielle, Kelsey, I think you have your marching orders. All right, thanks very much. Let's go ahead and move to slide 12. Oh, yes. Haley, did you have a comment?
No, someone's at my door.
Oh, okay. That's fine. We're just wanting to be responsive. One of the things you had wanted addressed was some media planning. And Jamie has stepped up and is going to share with us a couple of resources and some ideas today. And so I'm going to turn it over. Take it away, Jamie.
All right, so we had talked about how we would like to have a more consistent media presence throughout the state. We had talked about maybe coming up with a media plan where we could all run it on Facebook, things like that. So if you click the folder, it should take you to a link. And then for this month, I have created some messages that I thought you guys could utilize. So if you open up that Jamie Rodriguez opioid prevention messages, these are messages that I found on different websites that we could run from like CADCA, NPN, things like that. So what I tried to do was make it pretty consistent with the pictures, the messaging, everything all in one spot. So all you guys would have to do is copy and paste. And then what we're going to ask is everybody take on a month and come up with a plan so that we can all utilize this. And then what we'll do is we'll all put them in these folders so we can have the consistent messaging across. What does everybody think about that?
Are there any technical issues, questions for Shelby on accessing these resources? The links work for everybody?
I'm in, Jamie, but I apologize. I was trying to technically get in, and so my brain wasn't turned on. What am I supposed to do again now that I have the access?
So if you click the little folder, it should take you into the document. And then it just shows there's, I think, like at least eight different messaging that we can put out. These are just some that I had done recently, so I thought we'd start with these and share. I try to follow a lot of like the CADCA, National Prevention Network, things like that on Facebook. And so these are all ones that they have shared. So then what we were going to do is on the next slide, or there's a media plan calendar in there too. So if everybody could take a month, or if we could do 2 people on a month that want to work together or whatnot, just so we have all the months covered.
Can everybody access the media plan calendar? And if so, could you go there right now and open it up? Is there anyone who cannot get into the media plan calendar? If you would be willing to post some suggestions, as Jamie has done, please put your name into one of those months, and that way you can create a collective file and resource library of these things that you can continue to run.
And what we were hoping was that we would have it kind of how I have it, how it has the messaging and then a picture or links, just so it's easy for everybody to copy and paste.
What questions does anyone have around using an approach like this?
Well, it comes to mind timing. I put my name down on May, so that would be hopefully motivating to me to get some stuff done in my own world. So if Jackie and I are going to partner on a media plan for the month of May, I guess is what I'm assuming that is, then we need to probably be looking at doing that like yesterday and sharing that out tomorrow. Because really, I mean, in my world, like it's halfway through April and we kind of want something, you know, to share sooner rather than later, as far as the people that actually, if you're not the direct one doing the posting, people need that to do and plan for May. So I guess, is that all like what you were thinking?
We were kind of thinking probably 8 posts, about 4 to 8 posts a month, so that we could either post one weekly or twice weekly, you know.
I think that,
I mean, what I've already created, we could use.
the clarifying question, I think, is May mean you're creating things to be posted in May, or is May mean you're creating in May and we post it in June?
We didn't really discuss that, so I guess that would be what the team decides. So what is everybody else thinking on that?
I feel like we could use what's in there already that Jamie put in there, timing wise. That makes sense for May, and then like Jackie and I could work together to create, you know, 4 to 8 for June. And then my follow-up question is, we have Twitter too, and do we need to plan for Facebook and then also the 140 Twitter characters, because it's sometimes different narrative depending on how much education you can fit into a Twitter post. And then does anybody else have any other needs, Instagram, anything else platform wise? And I'm not offering TikTok, sorry, not going there.
I like working with high school kids and TikTok. Sorry.
And then our other suggestion was like, so with this folder being accessible all the time, if you guys go ahead and post something out that you found or something, you can just post in there and let us know too. So we could maybe have like a document that is what's definitely created for that month, and then maybe another document that's just random posting.
And this would be something that it could live in the shared the share space whenever wherever you get that up and running. Would that be the recommendation, so it would be readily available? Danielle, Becky, Kelsey, what do we know about the repository for this kind of information?
I don't think we've heard more back on Basecamp yet, but I feel like that would be a great place to store all of this once we get that up and going.
Okay. Maybe we want to put that onto somebody list that on the parking lot as well, so that we can keep that on the radar. This is looking great. So far we have May for June and June for July. If somebody would like to think about July, that would be great. It looks like we're filling in the gaps here.
I think another thing, Jamie, first off, thank you for all your work on this. This is not, I don't think this is easy. So thank you for all your work. Another suggestion that I just have, as most local health departments are in some type of communication with NALAD, they do a monthly communication guide. It's not super, let's just say if it's May, they may get it out on April 30th. So I don't know if it's something that we necessarily want to rely on, but I think that's another way that we can continue to share the message across the state, is ask NALAD to at least have access to what we're doing, so they can incorporate some of the messaging, since we'll be more proactive than they are, incorporate some of our messaging into their monthly toolkits. So local health departments that aren't necessarily funded through opioid could utilize some of the messaging as well. Does that make any sense? Sorry, I cannot find my words today, but does that make sense?
No, I think that's great. The more messaging we get out there, the better. And I think if we're being consistent, us all posting, it's going to be seen more noticeable.
Absolutely, Jamie. So the main thing to that point, if everybody's okay with it, it would just be allowing access to the communications that we're developing to the NALED staff. I don't know which one that would be, but I can figure that out if that's something that the group wants to do as well.
Something else I had kind of thought of was, I know like a lot of months have different special days. So if we looked at the calendar for those and tried to do a message around those days too, that might be something in the future. I just didn't get a chance to.
Great idea.
Maybe that's something that, if you take May, if somebody takes the month of, planning for June, that's their responsibility, Jamie. I don't think that's on you. I think that can be whoever takes that month. They have to look for national awareness days.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, our thought was if we get at least 4 posts, but if somebody comes up with more, that's amazing,
4 posts per month. Is that what the goal is?
Well, we were saying one a week, but 2 a week would be the best.
This is Haley. We are getting a communications person from a CDC project that's going to be working with us for about 6 months, I think. And we are going to have them do a bunch of social media and stuff. So I might be able to help do some fill in where if 1 month you only get 4, then maybe I can figure out a way to do some fill in stuff. And then also I have another question. Brooke, what's the website that I go to do those monthly toolkits?
Haley, let me, somebody from NALED sent them out to me and I can't remember if it's Grant or Sandra. So let me get you connected there. Okay. I'll put that on my
perfect.
I think they're shared on the Basecamp group too.
Yeah, it's a Basecamp group too. So it's both. Okay. So I'll get you connected, Haley. No problem.
Thank you. And if
they're very helpful.
Brooke or anyone else, if any of you have any links that go to any of that stuff, drop them in the Zoom chat and I'll put them onto either drop them in the Zoom chat or put them directly onto the calendar, like in that section down below, like helpful links, and then we'll all have it.
That'd be great. And Maureen also posted October as Opioid Awareness Month. So September, folks, Colette and Karina might want to check in on that as well. Any other recommendations on your media plan calendar? Can we give Jamie a round of applause here for the background work she's done? You've been talking about this for as long as I can remember, guys, and here it is. You got it.
One thing really quick, just for the when you're outside of this meeting and go, how do I get back to that thing? That inevitable moment. It makes sense when we're all in here right now. But at the top of the Google sheet, you'll see that there's the title, media plan calendar, and then there's a star right next to it. If you click on that star, that's going to put it into a favorites folder inside of your Google Drive, and you can go to your favorites folder, and then it will always be there. You can also create I'll stop with that. But then the other piece is that in the slide deck that we're working on, at the very end where there's the monthly resources, on slide 20, 21, 22, you'll see there's a blue box at the bottom that says comprehensive session list. That is where I've been keeping like everything from all these sessions. And so I will add to today's session, the April 13th, I will put the link where the other items are at. I'll put a link to the media calendar so you can you can find it there as well. So if you bookmark or star that OD2A comprehensive list, you should be able to get back to it. All right, enough tech talk, sorry.
Thank you, Shelby, as usual. Anything else on the media plan calendar? So helpful, Jamie. Thank you so much. If you all want to move back to our main slide deck for today, we are also going to turn this over to Becky, who's going to talk about, I'm hoping you know you're going to do this, Becky, talk about CDC media and prescription bags.
Sure, I will give it the best go I can do. So there was quite a bit of discussion regarding the ordering of prescription bags. And I had started an email chain and quickly realized that it would probably be easier for everybody involved to just have an open discussion on ordering, if we want to order as a group and do one bulk order, or if we wanted just to do individual local health departments, and kind of talking through some of the benefits of both, and seeing where everybody's at. I had quite a few local health departments interested in purchasing the prescription bags. My personal concern, if we do the bulk, is getting it to everybody in a timely manner, just because we're all obviously spread across the state. So I wanted to kind of talk through that, open up that for discussion first, and then we can kind of move on to the next piece of this slide. So anybody have thoughts on how to order, what might make the most sense, etc. for the prescription bags?
Becky, I'm going to back you up. I know I got these emails, but can you explain what are they and what's their purpose? Sorry, back up a little bit, please, for me.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. So this was discussed a couple months ago, I believe, in a TA session, and they are just like little carry bags that have the image here is what the bags will look like. So it has information on naloxone, overdose prevention, etc. And I think a lot of people were thinking of connecting with local pharmacies and kind of using these bags to hand out to anybody who was receiving medications, prescriptions, etc. from the local pharmacies. So it's just kind of a different new way to get the information out there about naloxone in a bag, which usually people tend to gear a little bit more towards when you can get free stuff. So that's my understanding. And this visual is just what they would look like. Does that help? Probably not.
Nope, it does. It does. Like I said, I don't think I was at that TA call, so I missed it. That was my bad. But thank you.
You're good. You're good.
So what other questions do you have about the prescription bags?
Okay, my question is what is everybody thinking? I don't know if we want to put it in the chat or whatever, but I would be interested in it, but I have absolutely zero idea what would be a good amount versus too much amount, too much a little. So would everybody mind like just putting, if you are thinking about it, like what are you putting? What are you guys thinking about ordering? Ballpark?
And maybe what are others thinking of using them for? I think that's another big question, is what's the use behind it? And the pharmacy was kind of the one that I heard the most on, but I'm curious if anybody else has additional thoughts on the number, but also how to best utilize them.
Absolutely.
Oh, look, Davidson's coming in right at the best time. Good timing, Davidson.
Welcome, Davidson. We are, there will be a, can you put the link in the chat, Shelby, for Davidson to link into the slide deck? We are just into the CDC media prescription bags, and there's been a little background and context given, and people are now asking some questions around it. So I would open up the floor for any questions that people would have for Davidson on this. With the one that we're talking about right now is, what are people seeing as a use for these, and how many might they be thinking about ordering? And just sort of sharing initial thoughts around those couple of questions. Jackie says, I plan to disseminate to local pharmacies and then using them to pass out to our doTERRA drug deactivation bags. I have no idea what doTERRA is, but Christina says maybe you donated to high school and middle school to use as popcorn bags in their concession stands.
That's a good idea. Another thing that we're trying to work with ASAP on is working with proper drug disposal and setting up putting this in quote, but setting up like a drug disposal little information thing in libraries. So we could probably use them in libraries as well. I'm not
What
using
other ideas do you have? Any questions for Davidson? Are the bags flat bottomed?
I don't have the answer to that question.
Davidson?
I think they could be. I think it's just kind of like when I'm looking at the thing, it looks. Yeah, I think they. But I think it's kind of whatever. It's whatever you choose to print them on. I think is the. Because I think if you printed them on a popcorn bag versus a pharmacy bag, I think those are slightly different bags. I think it would work for either of them. But I think I'll go to back my go-to answer. It depends.
So what they would be ordering, Davidson, and maybe you all know the answer to this question, is the graphics for it, and then they print their own bags, or are they actually ordering bags?
So they could take these images and work with the local printing shop, or whoever would. So I think it'd be a kind of just, unless we can. I mean, we could try to order them all together, and I think if we ordered them all together, then we'd all have you couldn't put your own logos on them unless you took like a sticker and put them on there, which seems like a lot of work. And I don't know if there'd be much cost savings, but it'd be a lot more hassle. So I don't that's kind of my initial feeling. I mean, maybe there's an easy way to do it together, but I feel like if each health department that wanted to do it did it themselves, it would allow you to get more what you wanted. But I don't know.
I wonder if we utilized one printing company, if they would be willing to work with us with adding logos, things like that, because they might be able to get it cheaper if we're all doing it. I don't know.
There's also a question in the chat. From Tabby, did anyone find a good option for full color? We're planning to give out to pharmacies and thinking of adding ask me today type message, a white bag with an image. Anyone have any answer to inform that question? And Kelsey suggests, what if instead of stickers with your own branding, could we do a stamp?
The other option, which I don't know how this would work, is if we get them and they're still flat and we have to put them together ourselves, you might also be able to run them through a printer, and then print them on if you could just set up the image and print it on it, so that might be easy as well. So it might be doable. I think the way that one thing that would be useful here is asking somebody who works at a print shop who actually has expertise in this might be a good way to go, just because they would probably have a better idea of what the limitations, ideas, and like how this would all work. I think I know what I'm talking about on this, but I'm sure there's people who know more on the logistics of this. I have a couple ideas of people who I could reach out to, who I know who work in printing. So I could reach out to them if you'd like, or if anyone locally has a good connection with someone and they would like to reach out to.
I have a process recommendation here, and while I'm working on that, Maureen, do you want to explain to us the link that you dropped in the chat?
This is what the from the PowerPoint you had in an earlier session that a colleague sent to me. I used to work in a printing shop. It looks like a print for an actual like web press, and it would look like the pharmacy bag. I think it would look like the two pharmacy bags that are there. You could still put popcorn in them, but they're not like a flat bottom bag that you could put on a table. The one that's in the PowerPoint presentation and the two PowerPoint presentations. Plus the full color is kind of expensive. So using one printer would be a great idea, but we'd have to ask the printer, could you please send it out to these different addresses? Like you could order it from one printer and then just say, well, the order has to be sent out to like 100 have to be sent here, 200 have to be sent there. And that's something we could probably work on if people would want them. I think the popcorn bag idea is genius. I think our local theater person would do that in our area, the two people that run the theaters. I don't have much hope for all my pharmacies though, because some of them are kind of conservative. But for printing, I think the cheapest way to go would be find one printer and then just say part of this is we have to send them out to these addresses and get an idea, because the more you print, the less they cost per item. Does that make sense? Is everybody okay? And then if you open that little link I put in, that's what those bags, that's what that pattern that's in the PowerPoint is for, is that kind of bag.
So I'm wondering, to move this project forward on slide 4, let's see, I would prefer that to be slide 14. What questions do we need to research at this point? And then we'll decide who's going to do that bit of research on behalf of you all. What are the questions that need answers at this point in time in order to make decisions around prescription bags?
I would say, can we bulk order and have it mailed to individual health departments or different addresses?
I think most of them will. I think we would just have to pay the shipping on our own, which would be understandable.
Yeah, and media rate is pretty cheap. Like, I mean, it might be slow, but I mean, the difference of getting it in 7 days versus 5, I think for the most part would be fine.
So we have, can we bulk order and have mailed, and what would the costs be? Any other questions that need research?
Would like the oils of the popcorn with the color do anything weird? I don't know how that works, but.
Maureen, you're shaking your head. Is that?
They usually, printers I know in Omaha, when I worked with the med center, they're usually soy-based inks, so they don't transfer to your hands. And since it's soy-based ink, it doesn't have as many, it's a food grade kind of it's a food grade item.
Has anybody heard of the MPA naloxone program? So I just messaged a friend who's a pharmacist asking what she thought of the bags and if she would be interested in using them. And she said, yeah, we are supposed to be part of the MPA naloxone program. where we dispense it for free, but I haven't got the final information, so I think these would go along with it. So maybe if we contacted those who are utilizing that, the bags would go right along and they would be more willing.
Yeah, and you can look on the website to know who.
Tabby, you went on to mute. We heard you and then we didn't.
Oh, sorry, I must have double clicked. I apologize. The Nebraska Pharmacy Association website has a list in across the state of who has participating pharmacies.
My thoughts are, the pharmacies, my thoughts are that people that go to the pharmacies are not going to want to get those bags. They are not going to want to walk out with a naloxone bag because everybody's going to think they're getting that. And that is like a stigma in itself. Do I disagree with that? Yes. But do I think it's going to happen? Yes. I love the popcorn bag idea, but I don't think our pharmacists I don't think I'm going to get very far with any of those items. I love the idea, but I don't think I'm getting too far.
Jamie puts a comment in the chat, but if that's all the bags they are using, Jamie, you want to finish that sentence?
I was kind of meaning if that's the bag that they're using for every prescription, then it wouldn't differentiate, I wouldn't think anything different if that was the only bag that was coming out from the pharmacy.
And Tabby says they have pharmacies on board. What about next steps here? What do you want to have happen at this point? Who needs to do what by when? Great discussion. Now what? Becky, you're unmuted and lit up green for me. Was there something that you were going to suggest?
Oh, I did not know I was unmuted. No, I do not have anything I was going to say.
Okay. Well, what will move this forward?
Do we have any price points at all?
I don't think we do. I think it would be based on how much we order, who we order from. If we're ordering individually, I don't think we have an underlying idea of what it would cost because of all of those unknowns. But that could be something that we could reach out to and ask about.
Tabby, have you gotten information? Because it looks like you're a go on these, it looks like. Have you guys?
I did some research and I was looking at just doing white bags because of the cost, so that we could afford to really get them out and just hand them out in each of the pharmacies. The challenge I'm facing is we also oversee the SOR grant for our region. And that's who supplies the Narcan to our pharmacies. And we're strapped kind of on budgeting, and there's been a lot of pushes for Narcan. I love getting Narcan out to everybody, but I'm a little worried to push these out too soon until that budget recycles also. So we're probably going to push them out towards the end of this fiscal year, just for that reason. So just as we're promoting very heavily, it's somebody else's budget that's being strongly affected. I keep seeing the state putting out stuff around the Nebraska pharmacy program and hoping we have enough dollars to cover the increase. And we've seen an increase in our area for Narcan. For need and for getting it for the pharmacies in the last month, the pharmacies have had a huge uptick.
Thanks, Jackie, for posting that. 3,000 bags at $1,200 would give us a ballpark figure anyway to be considering. So I'll re-ask the question. What needs to happen now? Are people individually going to be pursuing this? Davidson and Company, are you going to be researching the bulk order and what you could do? What do you want to have happen? Heidi, you unmuted? Is there something?
Yeah, I guess I got one more question. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm just belaboring this unnecessarily, but I just have one more question. I thought at several months ago that I think it was Davidson showed us several options of different visuals and different graphics. Was I mistaken? Was it not the bags that you showed us like 10 different options that we had for visuals, and maybe it wasn't specific to the bags. So I was hoping somebody would remember what those visuals were, because I'm kind of like Haley. I'm just not real. I don't know if I'm going to do popcorn bags or even pharmacy bags. I don't know that I want to do naloxone. So I thought maybe there was some different options that we had to choose from.
Yeah, so on that slide, on slide 13, there's a couple different links with those graphics that you're referring to, Heidi. If you click on the stop overdose media options, it should pop up a PDF you could look through, and then the CDC grant or the CDC website itself, that link is also on there that you could pull up the different options for graphics and campaigns.
So what are the options that people have for the use of these graphics and bags?
It kind of depends on the different campaigns. There's different options. I'm pulling up the PDF slowly, apparently. But there's some billboard options, posters. You can use them for like Facebook ads. It looks like it's about the second one. For the CDC branded, you can do web ads, fact sheets. There's like posters, pharmacy bags, postcards, print ads, radio ads, social media, static ads. And then for the taggable ones, there's some, you can do delivery bags, digital, like billboards, bus shelters, and then also pharmacy bags. So there's a lot of options.
Davidson, could you maybe share that PDF in the chat, in the Zoom chat, please?
Sure, and this is the same one that I believe Becky directed us to.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So what decisions do you need to make this morning? What would be helpful to you? In terms of next steps, does someone have a recommendation?
Okay, so I know, Becky, bless your heart, I know you've sent out an email asking about everybody. Is there a way to maybe do like a survey monkey type thing, or is it a Google Docs where there's different options? And across the top, I'm envisioning, and then all the local health departments on the left side, and then we put an X and the quantity. Is that an option? So then like for me, like, and maybe you can denote what you're thinking, like where they're gonna go. And then like for me that I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I can look at everybody else's and say, oh, that's a good idea. They're similar size. Maybe we can get that in our area too. Would that be helpful for everybody? Is that an actionable step that we can take?
So
I have no idea how to do that, but I can surely try.
Becky, add one more thing to your plate. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I can learn. I can see what the options are. Absolutely.
So putting
Sorry,
together,
Dan.
I put on slide, what heck slide is this? Slide 14, to create a Google Doc with options for action with space for local health departments to declare their intent. Did that capture what you meant?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And Becky, you're willing to undertake researching how to do that?
Sure thing.
Okay. Is there another next step you'd like to suggest?
So I think this was kind of talked about, but is the did we figure out who can print and do that, or who's going to reach out to find out who can do that, or is that in somewhere I'm not seeing?
I'm wondering here, and I don't want to throw you under the bus, Maureen. Was it you that you had the experience with the printing? Is that right?
Yeah, and I can check. I just don't have the connections I used to have in Omaha or Lincoln. Or do we have to go with an in-state provider or can we go with an out-of-state provider if it's less money?
Yeah, I mean, either would be fine. I mean, it'd probably be better to do something in-state, but there's no, as far as the CDC doesn't care, and I don't care. But so I don't think that would be an issue. Probably want it to be domestic. I mean, like international shipping, this would be impractical. But just so having it in the United States would probably be ideal. But other than that, and the person who I was going to actually reach out, if I was the one to reach out, I was going to reach out to somebody actually in Dakota City, who I've worked with at, I believe, Absolute Screen Art.
Yeah, that was one of them. There's another printer I've worked with in Shelby, Nebraska too, but I have worked with the people in Dakota City, and they are they were people I was thinking about calling.
Oh, good. Me too.
I've worked with them before, and they're usually pretty on point with their pricing.
Yeah.
And I'm used to working with no money.
Okay, I took the liberty of putting Davidson and Maureen's name after this just to take it to the next step. Is there anything else that people would like to suggest as the next step in this project? Okay, so more to come. Fabulous. All right. So the time on the clock is actually 10:29, and so we are drawing to a close with some fabulous discussion today. We were going to take some time to go into small groups, but you all can do that with your TA time coming up next. I'm going to ask everybody, if you would, to please just move to slide 17. And rather than in small groups, 4 questions here. I'm going to erase this last piece. Any one of these things, I would like to just open the floor. If you would please respond to any one of these questions. What is one thing that stands out to you from our planning session today? Or one thing you're feeling good about? Or one concern you have at this point? Or the most promising next step that you have heard come out of our discussion today? I'd please ask for 3 or 4 people to respond to any one of those questions. I can wait as long as you can.
I think for me, it's to get with Jackie and just make an appointment to get together and get our heads together about messaging. It feels like a kind of an immediate next step. And then I'm probably going to do some research. And I think the research generally that we talked about with the bag discussion.
Okay. Someone else. Thank you, Christine.
I'm not sure exactly what the question was, Deb. Sorry, I was trying to find stuff on your slides. But what I'm going to answer is the training that the Panhandle has coming to their community, I would be interested in seeking that for our locals as well. So.
Wonderful. And I'm seeing a lot of stuff pile into the chat as well in answer to these questions. So I think we can go ahead and draw it to a close. There are on slide 18, some in the parking lot. Somebody wanted to hear about boot camp updates. We're going to be moving into technical assistance office hours here very, very shortly. And Shelby, I'm assuming we have some breakout rooms available for that. Also, a reminder on slides 20, 21, and 22, there's a whole resource library of things that you have all covered over the last 2.5 years. And so I know that we will be coming and going over the next half hour. I just want to say it's been an amazing ride to work with you in this arena. I have learned personally so much, and I'm going to be watching to see where it goes from here, and just want to thank you for all you do. Shelby, what is it that, if anything, you would like to share with this team?
Yeah, that's what similar to what you just said, Deb, is that it's been a real honor to work with you all, especially through this time. I had a moment where I was like, I wish I would have done more for other people during the pandemic. And then I thought about it and I was like, I got to be with like 15 members of local health departments through this whole thing. So I'm so grateful to all of you and the work that you've done and how you have pushed through this incredible time that we've been in. And I'm just an email away. So if you've got questions, or you get stuck, or if you're just like, I just want somebody to explain to me how to make this stupid Google table to share, please reach out. Happy to help. So.
Okay. Well, I think we're ready to move into TA. So Shelby?
Yes.
One last time, you want to take us away?
Actually, so in the spirit of passing the baton here, we've got multiple co-hosts on this session. So I'm gonna actually just walk through how to get those TA rooms open and have Kelsey actually take us into them. So Kelsey, if you'll go to breakout rooms. Does anybody else want to see how this works, by the way, the behind the scenes? If you do, raise your hand. I'll make you a co-host so you can see this. So Christina hits. Okay. Deb, will you call out names of people who raise their hands so I can make them co-hosts?
Christina, anybody else want to peek behind the scenes? Okay. Maureen? You can give us a reaction in the chat, or you can let us know in the chat if you want to do that.
Okay, I think I've got everyone. All right, so what we're gonna do is, like, everyone that's a co-host, you can follow along with this and push all the buttons, but we'll have Kelsey push the final button so that she's the one who actually opens up the rooms. Okay, so at the bottom of your screen, co-host, you'll see that there's 4 squares that say breakout rooms. Go ahead and click on that. Then click on recreate and select 3 breakout rooms, and select the blue dot that says let participants choose room, and then click recreate. Everybody can click that. Click recreate. Now go to where you see room 1, 2, and 3. On room 1, click rename and rename that to TA with Davidson. Click yes. And then we leave these rooms open for 25 minutes. So at the bottom left-hand corner, there's either a gear or it says options. Click on that. Make sure allow participants to choose rooms is clicked. Allow participants to return the session is clicked. Automatically move all assigned participants, and then auto close breakout rooms and put the remaining time that we've got, which is 24 minutes. In there, and you can do it. Let's see, check notify me when time's up, check countdown after closing breakout room, and set that to 30 seconds. Okay. And Kelsey, when you're ready, go ahead and click open all rooms.
Shelby, can you make Danielle a co-host?
Yeah.
I tried and I couldn't.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
No worries.
So I have 3 rooms, is that right? But I only had 1 renamed.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm ready when you guys are.
Go ahead and click open. There shouldn't be anybody assigned to any of those rooms, right?
Yep. All right, here we go.
So now that Kelsey has clicked open, everyone on their screen should see down below the 4 breakout rooms, the 4 squares with breakout rooms, and you can select which room you want to go to. Davidson, I'll have you just self-select into your room, please. Bye. And then anyone that wants to go talk and have TA time with Davidson, go ahead. If you need to meet or gather with anyone to make a plan or a schedule for next times, feel free to use either of those other 2 rooms. If you've got any questions for me and Deb, you're welcome to stick around here. Or if you're just done with this, you're welcome to go. Good job, Kelsey. Great. That's how we do those TA time ones at the end. And good job to everybody else who walked through that. I'm confident had you clicked open all rooms, it would have done it exactly like we just did it.
Shelby, you can probably stop the recording at this point.
Yeah, all right.